Welcome to Red Story. Please enjoy and subscribe. We'll be happy to tell you more. What happened after you did it with your best friend? Story 1. Best friends for 7 years. And we both just went through really nasty breakups where we were cheated on. Ended up doing it when he came over at like 4 a.m. one night. We ended up sleeping together daily for weeks after that. I ended up pregnant, and to be honest, I was terrified. I wasn't sure if he'd be willing to stick around given the circumstances. Turns out he was excited. Having a family was all he ever wanted. We didn't start dating immediately. I didn't want us to be together solely for the fact that we were having a baby. I wanted to make sure there was an actual connection there. In October, after months of basically living together, we made it official. Baby boy is due any day now, and we couldn't be any happier. Having him come over that night in June was the best decision I ever made. Story 2. We'd gotten drunk to celebrate me getting into med school, and 8 years of repressed intimate tension just poured out in a single night. The next 3 days, we were both in a panic daze. I thought I had lost my best friend for the best night of my life, and I couldn't stop thinking it wasn't worth it. Sleeping together was mind-blowing, but no one made me feel as safe or as happy, and I would trade anything to keep that. He asked, would it really be so crazy if we tried dating? We moved in together a month later. We've been together now for 7 years. We got engaged, saving up for a house and wedding. He's still my best friend. Story 3, best friends for 8 years. She and I figured out we had feelings. We did it and started dating immediately after. She got breast cancer a year and a half into dating, didn't skip a beat, and happily married my best friend. Got to find out what true love really is. Then she passed away in December. I miss my best friend. That's so sad to hear. He had everything, but it was so fleeting. Story 4. I dated her, helped deliver her daughter, raised her daughter as mine, and don't regret it. We bought a house, then moved in together. She began hating being a mother and staying at home all the time. She started cheating with coworkers and got exposed by her 2-year-old daughter. Please don't even ask how. I packed my stuff and left immediately. Now she makes TikToks about how terrible I am to this day. Yet the only thing I miss about that relationship is being a father to that baby. Now she's the reason I don't think I'll ever date a woman with kids or is pregnant. Nothing against those beautiful women, but I'm honestly traumatized because I still miss that kid every day. Story 5, we did a friends with benefits thing for about 3 years. Whenever we were both single, we'd hook up. She lived about 300 miles away. We used to sort of dance around the possibility of actually dating, even getting married, but we never pulled the trigger. The distance was too much, I think. We loved each other very much. Got to the point where whether it was platonic or romantic love was difficult to tell. And weirdly, neither of us was in a rush to figure it out. I guess we both had faith it would work itself out as it was supposed to. And it did. She met a great guy, dated him, and married him. I performed the ceremony. After it was over at the reception, I gave her a hug and she kissed my cheek and smiled a little flirtatiously. We both knew it was the last time she'd give me that look and said, "Thanks for marrying me." It was one of the most purely loving, intimate moments of my life. We are still close. Not like before, but we still love each other deeply, and we always will. That love just has a more clearly defined label now, and it's a label we both respect and cherish. So yeah, it's not always a sad ending. Sometimes it's just a weird and beautiful intermission. I don't know about this one, it's so bittersweet, but maybe the perfect person for him is still out there. Story 6. It ruined everything. We don't talk anymore. I'm a gay man with a girl best friend since high school. This happened 7 years ago. I guess I was a little fluid during that period of my life when it happened. But I totally prefer only guys now. Anyways, I broke up with my boyfriend who was cheating on me and occasionally physically hurting me in public. She was finally separated from her toxic husband who also beat her up. I had a fist fight with this dude one time, and he hates my guts and forbid her from seeing me. She became a single mom, and she was barely sleeping with anyone at that time because of juggling work and taking care of her daughter. One night, she was insisting on sleeping over at my place since her kid was at her parents', and she didn't want to be alone. I was like, yeah, sure, cool. We ordered dinner, watched Friends, looked at our high school yearbook, reminisced, and had wine, probably more than we were supposed to when it was time for bed. I told her that she can sleep on my bed, and I'll just sleep on the couch like always, but for some reason she was very persistent in making me also sleep on the same bed, as it had enough room. And I eventually agreed. She played footsies under the sheets with me in my bed. It was kind of awkward at first because I wasn't responding and pretending to sleep, but her hands were hovering on my chest and going down into my sweatpants. I don't know if it was the alcohol or what, but she looked so pretty when I glanced at her, and she just let out this naughty but attractive smile. I don't know. I caved in and I kissed her. We just made out so much, and then one thing led to another. We slept together. It was actually good. We kept hanging out for a few more weeks, and I was developing some feelings for her. I asked her if she wanted to give it a try. I even thought to myself, I'll be fully ready to take care of her and her toddler if it worked out. But when I poured my heart out and confessed to her, she just ghosted me. I was crying for a month. I found out she has a new husband now and a second kid. They also transferred to my city and live on the street next to mine. Story 7. He turned out to be super toxic but hid it very well. So we entered a not-so-good relationship where he would badmouth me to everyone, making everyone around us think I was the toxic one, while he was aggressive with me and would humiliate me behind closed doors. By the way, I only discovered he was badmouthing me only after the relationship was over and people were treating me differently. It was the worst experience of my life. It only served to teach me when to walk away. The guy had a very serious mental health problem too, which made him slowly descend into very real madness. This isn't an exaggeration. This would make the cycle of violence very palpable, as the moments of violence and moments of happiness would be very extreme. He was either extremely in love or extremely destructive. I ended up having to go to the police to file a restraining order against him, which made him unalive himself as soon as he got it. That made his friends and family believe I was the reason he was gone. While one police officer who took my testimony said what I was describing was considered a type of false imprisonment, and another police officer said I was lucky, yes lucky, that he didn't take me with him to the grave, something he did have ample opportunity to do during the last 2 days we spent together. So yeah, very traumatic but sobering experience. It made me have a closer contact with death, which puts everything into perspective, and it made me rethink how I was living my life in relationships. Guys, it just doesn't matter if they were nice once, or if you had a very good friendship for years before hooking up, or if they are showing love that you never had before. When things turn dangerous, don't think of them as people and just escape. Don't try to be there for them or help, just escape. I mean escape, not leave. You have a very real chance of getting hurt. Story 8. We just celebrated our second Valentine's Day together and have been together about 1.5 years. It feels like we have been together a lifetime because in some ways we have. Knew him since 5th grade, became good friends with him in 10th, but we didn't end up a couple until after college. I believe he always wanted to be with me, but I never knew I would feel the same way. We grew up as friends, and we never thought we could be compatible as lovers. Little did I know what I was missing, though I do understand that we both needed that time for personal growth. Life works in mysterious ways, sometimes, oftentimes beautiful. Story 9. We ended up dating for 3 years, had a nasty breakup, but remained friends, still hung out almost every day, shared all our ups and downs. We thought we'd be each other's future kids' godparents, and we thought we would always be there for each other, no matter what. But then he got slowly very distant and very cold, then cut me completely out of his life. We used to think we had a much deeper connection than just a romantic kind and not a breakup. New partners or anything in the whole universe could tear us apart. We were inseparable. We even looked like each other. And yet here I am, knowing almost nothing about his new life. I miss him so freaking much. Story 10. She initiated it, and I told her before that this would be purely a friends with benefits thing, and that I thought it would be a bad idea. Afterwards, she told me she was interested in a relationship, and I told her I was only interested in a friendship, but that I kinda liked the benefits thing too. She said she wouldn't be able to continue sleeping together, but she would like to stay friends. She got a boyfriend and told him about our past. We continued going to the same parties and group events, but didn't do anything specifically together. At some party, there was a misunderstanding. She and her boyfriend got pissed, and I realized that our friendship was long dead, buried under unspoken accusations and insecurities. Story 11. We ended up going to prom together. We dated over that summer and our freshman year of college. We eventually broke up. I was at her wedding. She checked in on me a lot after my wife died to make sure I was doing okay. We've known each other for 30 years now, and we're still best friends. We have dinner or get beer once a month, and we talk over text almost every day. After a certain age, all that men and women can't be friends, and friends' own stuff is just immature high school behavior. I don't have time for that crap. We're going to a Renfest this weekend to hang out. I think for a lot of people it's never this easy, as proven by all the other stories. I love this for them though. Story 12. Well, she initiated it one night when we were drunk and both of us were going through breakups. We both enjoyed it, and we kept doing it off and on for most of the year. Then she started to want a relationship. I didn't, because I wanted other things out of life that I couldn't have with her. So things became awkward and she stopped talking to me. A few years later, I thought about reconnecting with her. But I had been drinking that night and felt that it would be rude to drunk text her after so long. So I figured I would wait, and I'd do it later in the week. She died the next day. That was almost 6 years ago now, and I miss her every day. The moral of the story: when you want to try to reconnect with someone, just do it. Life is too short. Story 13. My best friend and I had a terrible drunken encounter. He was so drunk he couldn't get it up. He was an aggressively bad kisser, and he went down on me for a while. I don't actually remember what it was like. At that point, I had been in unrequited love with him for 4 years. Things were awkward afterwards, and then I met another guy, and we started dating. My friend and I hung out one night, and he apologized for being weird and said he wished he could take me to bed and hold me all night. I said no because I was seeing this other guy. Fast forward many years, we are now both in very long-term relationships with other people. I love my husband, and he really is my best friend now. My friend's partner is gorgeous and amazing, and I freaking love her, and she is perfect for him. But I still wonder what could have been if I had said yes all those years ago and trained him how to do it right. Is it just me, or does this story seem kind of off? Like, was she ever really best friends with this guy, or did she even truly like him? She gave up 4 years of feelings over one bad drunken night. She admits he was way too drunk, but she sleeps with him anyway, and then blames him for being bad in bed. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I feel like best friends could have worked this out. Story 14. We knew each other for 13 years. I loved her from before, and sleeping together was very nice. She started telling me she loved me, and from friends with benefits it went to a full-grown relationship for me. When she fell in love with someone else, it started to break me. I fought to keep her, which drove her away. I fought more. It drove her away even more. We fought 3 times, and it kind of just broke both of us. Long after the friendship crashed, it turned out she didn't really love me, but tried to and just wanted to make me happy. Well, if only she never said she loved me. Maybe then we would still be friends. I try my best to look to nature for my solutions, and a garden is a perfect example of life. Sometimes 2 plants grow so closely together that they block the sun for each other, and only in becoming less entangled are they then allowed to thrive. The fruit they bear would be subpar, and even if it made the plants happy, a wise farmer would prune and pick them apart. Life isn't about growing with someone, it's about growing by yourself. Then when you've got your flowers ready, you'll look around and see who else is up to your level. Story 15. I married her. We're still going 30+ years. She was the best friend of my ex. I always thought she was cool. We hung out and became best friends for a couple of years. We dated other people. We gave each other advice. We both became jaded from our relationships. I hated women and she didn't trust men. A year goes by. Suddenly I was like, what are these feelings I have for her? 2 days later I kissed her and fell in love. She told me not to fall in love. And then all of a sudden, Stay, you want to get married. I did both. She broke up with me. 6 months later I took her out again and we've been together ever since. We now have 9 grandchildren. Hey there, hope you're liking this video, and you must be since you've made it this far already. Consider giving it a quick thumbs up. It might not look like it, but these videos take a lot of time and effort to make between curating the best stories for you and long hours editing. Every like helps more people find this content, so thank you. Okay, back to the stories now. Story 16. We slept twice after drinking, and during COVID, we talked on a daily basis. My depression got worse, and she was the one that stood between me and a bullet. Needless to say, we started a relationship shortly after. I was a mess and got confused between wanting a best friend or a girlfriend. We dated for about a year, half of it being long distance. I wasn't that attracted physically to her anymore, and I grew distant. I met the love of my life in the last month we were still together, and so we broke up. I started dating my current GF almost immediately, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. Regardless, I hurt my best friend so much, and now she hates me. It's been a year, and I still think about her, wanting to say I was sorry for everything I made her go through. Think about her, wanting to say I was sorry for everything I made her go through. Never date your best friend. Story 17. It was an awful hookup, and we had 0 chemistry. He was really cringe. He talked to me like guys do in mainstream adult videos and was 100% in it for himself. Very degrading type stuff with 0 warning. In an instant, I could see all the red flags that I'd ignored because I was nuts about him. He wasn't really a good friend unless he was single, and it occurred to me that I'd been his pretend girlfriend anytime he was lonely. He used me a lot. He was a drunk and giant misogynist. He went from being my best friend, dance partner, and wingman to a virtual stranger in a short time. Story 18. My best friend as a teen was a beautiful young man. We briefly dated before becoming best friends. I took his virginity, and it was a typical awkward teenage hookup. Our friendship eventually died, and us hooking up just amplified those reasons. As an adult, I think of him from time to time, but I know there's no use in trying to rekindle anything. Our seasons together are over, and I'm grateful for the hard lessons and memories. I had another best friend later in life. He was like a mirror of myself. I coached him through losing his virginity to someone else. After years of being best friends, we went on a date, slept together, and it was incredible. We knew what each other liked because we talked about everything together. Then we had a falling out after I caught feelings for him. I used to wish him a happy birthday once a year, and we'd have a quick catch-up conversation, and then it'd go back to silence. He married a girl way out of his league, and they have a kid together now. That's the last I heard from him over 5 years ago when he left me on red. I miss him sometimes, but I've moved on with my life. I still love the men they were when we were friends, and I wish them the best in life. If you're thinking of sleeping with your best friend, be prepared for how sour it can turn. I didn't expect this thread to be so full of heartbreak, sadness, but also happy endings and weird moments of growth. It seemed like the outcomes were such extremes, which kind of makes sense when you take that leap from being best friends to more than friends. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe for more Reddit stories like this. I hope to see you in the next video. To hit that thumbs up and subscribe for more Reddit stories like this. I hope to see you in the next video.